noticed there was an electric vehicle, a ute. Is that someone? That's yours, isn't it? I want it. I must talk to you later.
I'll take you for a ride.
Yeah. All right. Well, one of the things Gary mentioned was the RET, and Jenny. Let me just bring this up on my iPad. Jenny mentioned to me that she'd put a proposal up to the Mundaring Shire, and it would be nice if you would support what she's done. There's a program the Mundaring Shire has initiated called Your Voice, and if you go to yourvoice.mundaring.wa.gov.au, or just go to the Mundaring Shire and put in Your Voice, you'll see a whole range of options that have been proposed by the public to the Mundaring Shire. But the particular one that we would like you to support is the renewable energy target proposal that Jenny, who introduced the program today, has put up, and it's there on the Shire's website under this Your Voice page. What could change Mundaring for the better? There's a total of 19 ideas. It's part of the Mundaring Strategic Community Plan for the period 2016 to 2026, a full decade plan. And they're welcoming any ideas. In fact, you can put ideas up yourself. But what we would particularly like you to do is register under the Your Voice on the Mundaring Shire and vote for the renewable energy target, so that there's community support, obvious community support that the Mundaring Shire will see. There's already 3 votes, but I'm looking at a lot of them now. Most of them have got 9 votes, 1 vote, 4 votes. Most of them have got very little. The one that's got 4 votes is the Summer Night Markets proposal. So I think the RET, the Renewable Energy Target proposal, that the Shire embrace the RET, is a much more meaningful one. It would be fantastic if we could see 10, 15, 20. Obviously that will see the Mundaring Shire take notice of that proposal and do something about it. All right, you guys ready? Well, that's good. Now, our next item on the programme, let me just bring this up because there's some changes. It comes under the heading of community energy, right? And we have 3 speakers. Jenny is coming back, Jenny Currell, I've just been talking about. We'll also then hear from Justine Collier, who's CEO of RISE, which is right next door, the non-for-profit which provides disabled services and a lot more besides. We'll hear about the housing project that's just down Copland Road that Patrick Crichton has been telling me about. Patrick will also join us. And then Travis Hargraves, who's Director of Sunday Energy, which is a residential solar company, will be joining us. So we're going to cover in general the issue of community energy rather than what we've been so far looking at, which is individual residents, community energy as a project. So first, would you welcome back Jenny?
Thanks, Peter. Okay. So, as Peter mentioned before, I actually attended a Community Renewable Energy Conference in Canberra in the middle of last year, which, despite all the doom and gloom in the sort of political arena at that time, was actually an incredibly positive and sort of exciting conference. There are a lot of groups all around Australia who are looking at various types of community energy projects. One of the organisations that's been quite instrumental in helping this along is a group called Embark. So I've got here, you can't read all these little green bits, you're not meant to necessarily. But Embark is a non-profit organisation and they're focused on accelerating the uptake of community renewable energy projects. So according to them, there are 70 active groups around Australia looking at various types of community energy, renewable energy projects. Of those, 16 have actually got systems of some sort up and running. Of the 70 projects, only 4 of them so far that Embark knows about are in WA, and 3 of those are actually have been around for quite some time, and they're all wind farms, no solar projects yet. So we're hoping that maybe with got an idea how we might become the first ones in WA. But just to give you a bit of an overview of some of the up and running successful community projects in Australia. First off, the sort of granddaddy of community renewable energy projects in Australia is the Hepburn Community Wind Farm. So this is in Victoria, in the country area of Victoria around Daylesford, lovely part of the world. So they had a vision that the whole community could benefit from this project. They set up a co-op. The co-op has got around 2,000 community members. And if you have a look at their website, they actually say that for local people, you can get in with as few as 100 shares. I couldn't find out how much the shares were, maybe $1. But if you're a non-local person, you can still invest and become a member of the co-op, but you have to buy a minimum of 1,000 shares. So that's an interesting way to try and sort of encourage investment by the local people and for a very low entry price. They actually raised $10 million from their members. They also got a loan and a grant that supported their endeavour. And so it took them 7 years to get their project up and running, but you recall at that point there was nothing similar operating in Australia. There were things overseas. A lot of community energy projects in Germany and Denmark have been running for many, many years. So the fact that there was some sort of Danish connection with this Hepburn, there was a Danish fellow who actually helped get it up and running based on some of his knowledge from Denmark. Okay, another one of the fairly early cabs off the rank, if you like, in terms of community energy was a group called Clear Sky Solar Investments. They are in the, well, actually they're all over New South Wales now. They started fairly in the north of New South Wales. So they've set up a system whereby they create a trust structure with a maximum of 20 investors. They don't have to produce a share offer or a prospectus. They can move quite quickly because they don't have to do the prospectus and go through the ASIC. And they actually encourage people to invest their money in their self-managed super funds. So the self-managed super funds can provide the capital to have one of those investments. They started off, funnily enough, with a fairly small system. I think it's 15 kilowatts on the Boggabri pub. If you look up the Boggabri pub, it's somewhere way out in the back blocks of New South Wales. But that was their first system. So each of their systems runs for, well, generally 7 years. The trust itself takes a mortgage over the panels, and they are basically offsetting consumption. So like Gary was talking about, there's not much point, especially for commercial. There's no feed-in tariff often. So you don't actually want to be exporting, you want to be using all that power that you generate. Another very different model was a group in Victoria, one of the suburbs of Melbourne, actually worked with their local council. The council acquired a bank loan, and over time they recovered their money. The council paid up front for a bunch of solar panels, which were then placed on the roofs of pensioners. So these people went out, well, they first of all mailed out 8,000 people, got inquiries from the people. They went and sat down and talked to the individual pensioners, went through their electricity bills, worked out what sort of system they could have on their roofs. They were already offering fairly small systems, 1 to 2 kilowatts. But what then happened was that those panels were paid for through their rates, so that the pensioners themselves didn't have to sort of pay extra money out. They got the benefit of those solar panels on their roof, and the council recovered their initial loan money through the rates. It also meant that the money was recovered and attached to the house rather than to the pensioner. So if they died or moved off to a nursing home or something, the rates notice continued to sort of fund that money and have the child paid back. So that's another sort of model that potentially we could use in Mundaring to sort of assist low-income people or pensioners or whatever to also get some panels. Another different model again is Currell. Currell operates Australia-wide, but they're based in South Australia. This one's funded completely by donations. There's no investment involved. You just give your money. They encourage people to either give a one-off sum or perhaps like you do with many charity organisations these days where you sort of say, oh, well, I'm prepared to give $10 a month for for the foreseeable future, and then gradually use that money. They provide interest-free loans to community groups who are wanting to put solar panels on their roof. Number 5 project through this system was actually a project in Nannup on their Community Resource Centre. I think they're up to about project number 9 now, and that was the only one so far that's been done in WA. So they're just looking all the time for community groups that may want to have panels but can't afford them themselves. The model is such that once these community groups start to pay back the money that it cost you to install the panels in the first place, then that money is reinvested into the next project and the next project. So gradually, as small projects are built up, then there's more and more payback, and basically they can do them faster and faster to sort of do extra ones. So if you're interested in providing some of your hard-earned cash to a good organisation, they're one to have a look at. I more or less gave this talk about this time probably last year, and up to there it's been the same. But now there's a few new ones that have happened in the last 12 months. Repower Shoalhaven, which is on the New South Wales sort of mid to north coast, member-based not-for-profit association set up in May 2013. There was quite a bit of talk about this one when I went to the Renewable Energy Conference in Canberra, but they weren't actually up and running at that point. They've been assisted by a group called the Difference Incubator, which is their whole mission in life is to grow investable social enterprises. So they've provided some of the know-how to get this community group up and running. They started off with a pilot project. They put 9 kilowatts on a local community centre, and 32 people donated to that cause. So that was just a donation model. And that was to sort of set them up to run an actual investment model, which the first one they did was Repower 1 in Shoalhaven on the Shoalhaven Bowls Club, which is what you can see there in the picture. I've actually invested in that, and yeah, so far it seems to be going well. So that was a 99 kilowatt system. They raised $120,000 from members of mostly the local community, but obviously on the one that's come from. I've actually been and had a look at it and talked to the people over there as well. That's really interesting. They've since set up Repower 2, which has put some panels up on local churches, and Repower 3. If you're interested in investing in this sort of a model, Repower 3 is due up before the end of the year, so check that one out as well. And last but not least, that's not right. Hopefully we'll stay there. Innova Energy, which is a new, very, very new initiative, also running in the Northern Rivers area of New South Wales. This one is actually trying to become a community energy retailer. Hasn't been done in Australia before. They just got their retailer's licence in October, so just last month, on the assumption that they managed to raise the $3 million that they're trying to raise. They're up to about $1.5 million at the moment, and yeah, they need to raise the rest of that money. So they set to become Australia's first community-owned renewable energy retailing and installation business. So they'll buy power from other organisations. They won't be the generator of that power, but they will retail it to people who particularly want to buy renewable energy, so they don't have to buy their power from generators that are using coal-fired power, things like that. They're suggesting that this could potentially lead to a complete redesign of the energy market. And they're focused on delivering environmental and community benefits, as well as making returns to community investors. So there's another one you can look at. That one's actually an investor model. You can put your money in and it'll pay. I think they talk about something like a 6.5% return, hopefully, which is some of the other ones are similar sorts of returns. So they're anticipating good returns for the investor models, but if you're feeling philanthropic, you can go with the donation models. Okay, and now we have our, okay.
Perfect.
We're going to talk about our own local